divinely revealed. Why your miraculous mission manifested on August 5th? It's no coincidence. In the quaint village of Ravenswood, the air crackled with divine energy as August 5th approached. The village was abuzz with preparations for the annual summer festival, a time of prayer, unity, and joyous gatherings. But for Thomas, a humble parishioner and devoted father, this year was shrouded in a deeper significance. His beloved daughter, Emma, lay frail, afflicted by an inconceivable illness. As he knelt before the altar of the old stone church, every prayer felt like a plea cast into the infinite void, the weight of doubt pressing heavily on his heart. But on this particular night, as the world outside slumbered, Thomas drifted into a profound sleep. In his dream, he found himself lost in a luminous meadow, filled with golden light and the sound of angelic choirs. A divine figure, radiant and warm, approached him. August 5th holds a promise, the figure whispered. A miracle awaits if the faithful gather. Thomas awoke in a cold sweat, heart pounding with hope and fear. The storm clouds overhead seemed to echo his inner turmoil, dark and oppressive. With the festival fast approaching, whispers of doubt began to circulate among the villagers. Why has not even the best doctors healed her? Some questioned, could prayer truly work? They murmured in hushed tones. Yet Thomas, with renewed fervor from his dream, called for an assembly in the chapel. He would lead his friends and neighbors in fervent prayer for Emma and the festival's success. As villagers gathered, their faces filled with uncertainty, Thomas invited them to commune over their fears, believing that divine intervention was just beyond the storm. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As the festival dawned, the heavens seemed to match the tension in Thomas's spirit. The wind howled, and droplets of rain began to fall as he gathered his congregation. They held hands, eyes closed, focused, and united, although some glances betrayed skepticism. "Lord, we beseech you," Thomas cried, "let this day be a testament to your grace." Just then, in the midst of their prayers, thunder cracked ominously. Lightning lit up the chapel, sending gasps rippling through the crowd. But just as doubt threatened to overwhelm him, a beam of sunlight shattered through the storm, piercing the gloom, illuminating the chapel in divine light. Gasps turned to awe as the congregation collectively held their breath. And from the rear doors, in a miraculous flash, Emma appeared, vibrant and radiant. "Father," she cried, "I have seen the Lord in my darkness, and he has set me free." The villagers erupted in exultant cheers, faith rekindled in their hearts. Joy intermingled with confusion. How had this miracle unfolded? Was this truly what Thomas had dreamt? As the crowd embraced Emma, hearts soared, yet lingering questions danced ominously around the edges of their celebration. In that moment, clouds still clung overhead, and a low rumble of thunder served as a reminder that the true journey of faith was only just beginning. What challenges yet lay ahead for this community intertwined in miraculous mission? Would the coming days test them beyond their imagination? As the chaos of joy settled into a gentle hum, the villagers surrounded Emma, their faces filled with disbelief and wonder. Thomas, pride and gratitude swelling in his chest, pulled his daughter into a tight embrace. The warmth of her spirit grounded him, chasing away the nagging shadows of doubt that still clung to his mind. "Tell us, Emma, what did the Lord say?" cried Mrs. Hargrove, a kindly woman with a penchant for bringing food to those in need. The crowd grew silent, waiting with bated breath. Emma looked around, her eyes shimmering as if they contained glimpses of unearthly realms. There was a light, so bright I felt his love wrapping around me like a warm blanket. He told me that faith can move mountains, that love is stronger than fear. Emma replied, her voice steady yet filled with awe. But he warned me, too, that challenges lie ahead. A wave of murmurs washed through the congregation. Thomas felt the weight of those words, heavy yet ultimately hopeful. Emma's revelation sparked something within him. The festival was not just a gathering of celebration, but a call to arms, a call to deepen their faith, to strengthen their bonds as a community. As festivities began, the air shifted. Children laughed, and the aroma of baked goods mingled with fragrant flowers. However, Thomas noticed a tinge of unease looming over some faces. The memory of the storm clouds and thunder flickered behind their eyes, reminders of doubt that had just been laid to rest. "Friends," Thomas called out, raising his hands to capture their attentions. "Today is a day of light. We have witnessed a miracle. But let us not forget the message Emma received. Our journey is ongoing. Like wandering sheep, we must keep faith even amid storms." The crowd nodded, some still struggling to grasp the enormity of what had unfolded. Yet a newfound zeal began to take hold within their hearts, a sense of unity sparked by Emma's miraculous return. They danced and sang, their hands reaching toward the sky, but a stillness persisted in Thomas's heart. The challenges Emma mentioned echoed in his thoughts. Later that night, after the festivities had waned, Thomas gathered with a few close friends in the flickering candlelight of the chapel. Conversations of miracles turned to whispers of faith and trials. "What do you think she meant by challenges?" asked Jacob, a gentle soul with a heart for the community. "I believe," Thomas replied thoughtfully, "that true miracles often come with tests of faith. It's as if the Lord asks us to remain steadfast, to keep believing when it's easier to turn away." Suddenly, the church doors swung open, and a gust of wind swept through, extinguishing the candles in a blink. Shadows danced wildly across the walls, and in that moment of darkness, a figure stepped into the chapel, a stranger wrapped in tattered robes. An electric charge filled the air as the villagers stared in stunned silence. "Peace be with you," the stranger spoke softly, yet his voice resonated deeply, echoing within their souls. "I come bearing a message, one that seeks to unite you in your journey ahead." Thomas's heart raced. What could this stranger possibly have to say? Was this another test of their faith? The night was thick with expectancy, the air itself a prayer. As the stranger stepped closer, a sense of urgency enveloped the chapel. What is it that he brings? Thomas wondered silently. And so, the next chapter of their divine journey poised at the edge of the unknown, bursting with questions that begged for answers. The stranger's presence was as palpable as the warmth of sunlight breaking through early morning mist. His eyes gleamed with an otherworldly light, drawing the villagers' gaze like moths to a flame. It was as if the very weight of heaven rested upon him, and a hush fell over the room, every heart hanging on his next words. "Open your ears and your hearts," he beckoned, his voice weaving through the silence. "For the Lord has seen your trials and your triumphs, your joy and your fear. This is not merely a moment to celebrate, but a divine calling to rise together. The world beyond your village waits, like a flower yearning for the sun." Thomas felt a surge of recognition, as if the stranger was touching upon something lodged deep within his spirit. Around him, his friends stirred, each face mirroring the dawning realization. They had, indeed, been called to something more. "To fulfill the mission you've been given, you must stand united," the stranger continued, his tone firm yet loving. "Your faith, as Emma has shown, is a beacon. But be prepared, trials will come that seek to divide you. Stay vigilant, keep your prayers strong, and do not let the darkness of doubt creep back in." The air seemed to thicken, a palpable energy swirling around them, igniting individual hearts with hope and uncertainty. Thomas's mind raced. Challenges the Lord had indeed shared through Emma. What could they become if doubt took root again? "Do you believe in miracles?" the stranger asked suddenly, piercing looks sweeping the congregation. Do you have faith that you can change the world around you? Yes, echoed a chorus of villagers, their voices merging into a powerful wave of affirmation. Then remember this day, the stranger commanded, raising his hands as if to gather their united spirits. You are the shepherds of hope, the bearers of light. Your struggles shape your strength, but heed the signs surrounding you. For in the days to come, you will be tested more than ever. A collective shiver raced through the chapel. As the shadows stretched and danced, the stranger stepped back, folding his arms into the folds of his robe. The flickering candlelight returned, illuminating his face. He held their gaze an invitation into mystery that stirred their very souls. With faith, you will see the path revealed when the next storm arises. Hold on to love, nourish it fiercely, and when the tempest roars, look to one another, for you will discover the miracle that lies in your community. With those final words, the stranger turned and walked back toward the open doors, the gentle breeze flowing in behind him, carrying a fragrance of lilacs and unknown promises. As quickly as he had appeared, he vanished into the night, leaving the villagers breathless, hearts ignited with purpose. Thomas stood, unable to find words. The chapel buzzed with astonished murmurs. What will this mean for us? Jacob finally asked, his voice trembling with excitement and fear. How do we prepare for what is to come? The flicker of doubt that once shadowed Thomas's heart began to dissolve. Perhaps this was indeed a moment of divinely orchestrated mission. They had seen a miracle and were now called to step into the light to find strength in one another. He raised his voice, steady and full of resolve. Brothers and sisters, let us gather together in prayer. Let us invite God's presence into our hearts as we stand ready for what lies ahead. As they bowed their heads, the flickers of candlelight danced around them, illuminating each face reflecting steadfastness. In that moment of unity, Thomas could hardly contain the warmth blossoming within him. Could it truly be that they were about to fulfill their divine mission? But then a sudden thought hit him. What if the challenges were more than they were prepared for? Outside, the wind howled, signaling a brewing storm that sought to test their faith once again. Would they stand united against the coming darkness? The dim candlelight flickered as Thomas lifted his voice in prayer. Closing his eyes, he felt the weight of uncertainty yet again, but it was quickly overshadowed by a burgeoning flame of faith within his chest. His words flowed like a fresh stream, carrying the hopes of the congregation, merging their thoughts and desires into a singular plea for strength. Dear Lord, he called, we come to you as a united body. Teach us to stand firm against the winds that blow around us. Help us trust in one another and, most importantly, in you. May we embody your light as we step forward into the unknown with every syllable. The villagers grew closer, their hearts beating as one. Emma stood beside him, her hands clasped tightly. They all felt a shared spirit of anticipation and fear, grappling together in this sacred moment. Murmurs of agreement washed through the chapel as they responded softly. Amid the storm outside intensified, rattling the windows. But to Thomas, it was as if the wind carried whispers of encouragement. It urged him to remember that, like the vine entangled with branches, they were meant to flourish together. As the final notes of prayer hung in the air, silence enveloped them once again, this time saturated not with doubt, but with an electric charge of expectation. Then, from the back of the chapel, an elder named Marjorie, her voice trembling, broke through the quiet. We need to share our stories. With those simple words, a wave of response swept through the villagers. Different voices rose, each tale unique, yet woven together by a common theme. Isaac spoke of loss, but how he found love in his neighbors. Mary recounted her illness and the unexpected kindness that rallied around her. The narratives flowed like rivers seeking a larger ocean. Thomas felt his heart swell as the stories unfolded, revealing the invisible threads of hope that had bound them all together. Each story was a reminder that they were not just individuals facing an impending storm, but a vast network of intertwined lives, blessed with the fellowship of shared trials and triumphs. Suddenly, a loud boom echoed like a drum roll, shaking the very foundation of the chapel. A gust of wind burst through the open door, extinguishing a few candles but igniting the energy among them instead. Thomas felt a fierce determination rise within him. This is it, he thought. The test has begun. In that moment, as the storm roared outside, the villagers stood resolute. They turned to each other, hands gripping shoulders and arms, forming a circle, an unbreakable shield against the darkness. Thomas could see the fear in their eyes, but also the light. "Let us be the light," he shouted, feeling his voice grow powerful. "Let's not scatter, but rise up as one." Emma nodded, her voice rising in agreement. "We carry our stories in love. We will be miracles for each other." The storm raged on. Thunder clapped overhead, reverberating through their bones. Lightning pierced the sky intermittently, casting flickers of blinding light across the chapel, illuminating faces lit with determination and hope. As the intensity built, Thomas instructed them to raise their hands to the ceiling, as though reaching for the heavens. "Let's proclaim our faith. We are not mere spectators in this battle, but warriors of light." "Warriors of light," they echoed back, infusing the air with their strength. But amidst that conviction, doubt quietly crept in at the edges. What awaited them in the heart of the storm? Would their gathering stand the test, or would they find themselves scattered once more? Just then, in the midst of their fervent declarations, a brilliant flash lit up the chapel, cascading a warm glow around them. Had it meant something? What celestial sign awaited them as they stared into the eye of the storm? The answers hung in the air, delicate and waiting. The radiant glow slowly began to settle, casting shadows that danced along the walls like whispers of the divine. A hush fell over the congregation, as if time itself had paused to witness the sacred moment unfolding. Thomas gazed at the faces around him, each one a tapestry of hope and resolve, faces etched with a newfound strength. Was this illumination a promise? A beacon guiding them through the tempest? "Do you feel it?" Emma's voice broke through the silence, a gentle tremor filled with awe. "This light, it's something greater than ourselves." Thomas nodded, his heart racing. "Yes, it is a sign, a call to rise. The Lord is with us now and always." His declaration charged the air, igniting a fire within the hearts of those gathered. There were no more shadows of doubt lurking, only a united front standing against the storm. As if on cue, thunder rumbled once more, shaking the chapel as though it were the voice of the Almighty. Yet, instead of pulling them apart, the sound wrapped them tighter together, drawing every spirit closer. The villagers' hands interlocked more fervently, their unity forging a mighty fortress. They were warriors of light, not mere victims of fate. Let every story we shared be a weapon in this fight. Mary raised her voice, her eyes sparkling with conviction. Our pain, our joy, every trial, this is what binds us together. "Yes," came the chorus of agreement. "Our stories will guide us." With each shout, the storm outside seemed to lose its terrifying grip. The winds, once howling with menace, shifted almost as if woven by an unseen hand. The whispers of fate entwined themselves with their confessions, their testimonies rising towards heaven like sweet incense. Yet something lingered, echoing in Thomas's mind. What would happen after this moment? The light felt strong and the bond among them unbreakable. But storms do not always represent danger. Sometimes they usher in transformation. Would they walk away changed, fortified to face whatever lay beyond the chapel doors? The realization struck him this was a moment teetering on the edge of profound shift. "We are being prepared," he exclaimed, his voice penetrating the thick veil of contemplation. Each story, every shared experience has led to this convergence. God is moving our hearts. At that declaration, a remarkable wave of peace swept through, soothing frayed nerves and calming racing hearts. It was palpable. Thomas felt it wash over him like gentle rain after a fierce drought. They were more than a community. They were chosen vessels, their destinies intertwined. "Tonight is a divine appointment," someone whispered from the back. The words rippled through the gathering, awakening a deeper understanding. Their lives were tethered together for a purpose greater than any single tale. A divine mission awaited. The storm rattled the chapel one final time, but this time it felt more like an invitation than a warning. Here they were armed with faith and illuminated by grace. "Let us step outside. Let us take on the storm," Thomas shouted, a powerful fervor rising within him. Would they truly do it? Would they dare to venture out as shining beacons against the darkness? "Yes," Emma cried, raising her voice for all to hear. "We are ready to face whatever awaits us. As long as we stand together, we will not be shaken." With their hearts beating as one, they made their way to the door. The storm beckoned, raindrops now glistening with light. Each step resonated with a melody of courage. As they reached the threshold, Thomas paused, looking back at the faces full of hope. "We are stepping out in faith, prepare to witness what God has in store for us." With a deep breath, they opened the door, letting in the wild winds, the tempest that churned outside. Would they discover their divine purpose in the chaos? Would they find miracles waiting beyond the storm? The world outside remained cloaked in uncertainty, but their hearts were filled with anticipation. The answers awaited just beyond the entrance. What revelations would greet them in the eye of the storm? As the door swung wide, their senses were assailed by the breath of the storm. Rain poured down in sheets, illuminated under the twilight sky, filled with swirling clouds. Shadows of trees danced eerily, yet within that chaos, Thomas felt a surge of strength enveloping him and his friends. "Look," Emma exclaimed. "The rain is alive." Each droplet, glimmering as if touched by divine hands, seemed to wrap around them like a cloak of encouragement. Thomas stepped forward, leading the way, feeling the unmistakable sanctity of the moment. "This is not just a storm, it's our baptism," he declared, arms outstretched, embracing the downpour that mixed with their collective bravery. The villagers followed him, stepping out boldly, laughter mingling with the sound of raindrops, reverberating off stone and soaked earth. They stood there, drenched yet unafraid, experiencing a strange joy that bubbled within even as the thunder erupted like celestial drums. It was a call to action, a reminder of their shared purpose. "Here we are," Mary shouted, raising her arms. Together, right in the heart of it. Her voice rang out clear, sweet, and true against the boisterous backdrop. "Let us come alive and stir the calling." Tears of joy mingled with the rain on Thomas's cheeks. "We have stories to tell, burdens to lift, and love to share," he cried, his words echoing in unison with the thundering symphony. "Our challenges have prepared us for this moment." And just as he spoke those words, a brilliant flash illuminated the sky, as if the heavens themselves had taken notice. For a brief moment, it felt like time had frozen, the storm quieted, and the dazzling light enveloped them like a protective sphere. Thomas's heart raced. Was this a sign? The silence was thick, laden with the weight of expectation. In this suspended moment, he could hear nothing but the rhythm of their breaths and the distant rumble fading into reverent anticipation. "Look," Emma pointed towards the horizon, where the clouds twisted and parted like curtains unveiling a wondrous stage. "Something is coming." Indeed, amidst the swirling darkness, a vibrant spectrum of colors began to emerge. The light danced upon the edges of the sky, a reminder of promises renewed and hope unveiled. "Is it a rainbow?" one villager whispered in disbelief. "No, it's a divine message," Thomas exclaimed. "It's the reminder that God makes all things new. He is speaking to us through this storm." Hope blossomed like flowers eager for sunlight, filling each heart with warmth and deep joy. With uplifted voices, they began to sing. The melody wove through the air, wrapping around them and pushing back against the lingering darkness. Each note surged with connection, binding their spirits together as only heavenly harmonies could. The storm became a canvas, painted with their faith vivid and bold. As they gathered in worship, Thomas spotted a figure emerging from the misty veil. A stranger, illuminated by the fading storm and vibrant light, approached with purposeful strides. Curiosity replaced caution as the villagers turned their attention to this mysterious visitor, each heartbeat echoing questions of who they were about to meet. "Could this be another part of our divine mission?" whispered Emma, stepping closer to Thomas, her eyes wide with wonder. Would this stranger bring enlightenment or challenge? Was this an answer to their collective prayer? As the storm began to quiet, anticipation pulsed through them like electricity. What revelation awaited them in this unexpected encounter? The air was thick with divine possibility, and they stood on the brink of transformation. The figure stepped forward, illuminating the tension in the air. A heavy cloak draped over the stranger's broad shoulders, and he carried himself with an air that commanded attention. The first glimpse revealed kind eyes, reflecting the flickering colors of the spectrum above. With every stride, he seemed to merge with the very essence of the storm's remnants, a living embodiment of divine purpose. "Greetings," the stranger spoke, voice resonating like a gentle thunder. "I am here to guide you on your path." His words washed over the crowd, soothing yet urgent, anchoring every heart to the moment. Thomas felt a pull within him, a stirring echoing through his bones. "Guide us," he repeated, yearning to grasp what lay hidden in this encounter. "Yes," the stranger replied, stepping closer. "You have been chosen. Each of you has a role to play in this unfolding story." The storm was but a prelude to what is now set before you. The villagers exchanged glances, a mix of awe and apprehension flickering in their eyes. Emma squeezed Thomas's hand, the warmth reassuring against the chill of the air. "What do you mean?" she pressed, her voice steady but laced with wonder. "The storm brought you together," the stranger explained, gesturing to the rainbow above as if it were a gateway. "And now, you must choose to embrace the mission that awaits you. It's not merely a task, it's a divine calling, a tapestry woven by the hands of God." Thomas's heart raced as faith intertwined with excitement. "What is this mission?" he urged, feeling deeper truths beckon from within the depths of his spirit. "There are many souls waiting in shadows of their own storms." The stranger's gaze swept over the gathering. "They need your love, your light, and your courage. You will meet each one heart to heart, providing the very hope you've found today." A ripple of understanding coursed through Thomas. Memories of battles fought and wounds healed flooded his mind, awakening a familiar fire. "But how?" he asked, voice thick with emotion. "By going forward without fear, in unity and with purpose," the stranger instructed, a glimmer of divine wisdom shimmering behind his words. "Embrace the strength born of your shared experiences. Together, as a community, you will shine brighter than the storm's fury. Each step taken is a testament to your faith." Mary, inspired, spoke up. "What if we falter? What if we feel unworthy?" The stranger smiled, gentle yet firm. "You will have moments of doubt, perhaps even despair. But know this, the Father does not call the prepared. He prepares the called. Trust in him, and you will find strength even in your weakness." The crowd shifted, hearts now swelling with anticipation, hope mixing with the uncertainty of what was to come. Emma beamed. "Then let us start today. Let us go forth and carry this light. Yes, let us share in the mission." Thomas echoed, feeling the spirit of excitement rise as laughter bubbled again among his friends, mingling with the last whispers of the rain. The stranger watched them, a knowing smile spreading across his face. "Then prepare yourselves. Tomorrow, the journey begins. Your first steps will lead you to a place where the heavy hearts gather, searching for truth." With those parting words, the figure began to retreat into the mist, leaving behind a lingering aura of divine presence that wrapped around the villagers like a warm embrace. One question danced in the air like lingering droplets. If tomorrow begins their mission, what awaited them on this path yet to be charted? The storm was over, yet their journey had just begun. The dawn broke softly the next morning, painting the horizon in hues of gold and lavender. Thomas awoke with anticipation thrumming in his chest. The promise of the stranger's words wrapped around his heart like a warm blanket, staving off the chill of uncertainty. As he stepped outside, the scent of damp earth filled the air, invigorating his spirit. The village was waking up, doors creaking open as neighbors greeted one another with smiles. Yet, the weight of their divine mission loomed in Thomas's heart. He glanced at Emma, who stood beside him, vibrant with hopeful energy. "Are you ready?" Thomas whispered to her, his voice earnest. "As ready as I'll ever be," she replied, her eyes glinting with the light of 1,000 unvoiced prayers. There was strength in her resolve, and it eased the worry that lingered in the corners of his mind. They may be ordinary villagers, but today they would be vessels for something extraordinary. Gathering with their friends in the town square, they felt the pulsing energy of shared purpose. Mary, eager and energetic, stood at the front. "Let us come together and offer a moment of prayer before we set out. We need God's guidance." They all held hands, forming a circle that felt electric with connection. As they bowed their heads, there was a collective moment of silence, a breath taken in the presence of the divine as they invoked blessings over their journey. "Lord," Mary prayed, her voice steady, "guide our hearts. Equip us with the courage we need. Help us find those who need our light." With the prayer echoing in their hearts, the group began to disperse, each of them feeling the pull to different corners of the village. Thomas felt as if an invisible thread connected them, an unseen tapestry woven by heaven. They soon reached the park at the edge of town, where heavy hearts often gathered. They walked cautiously. The world still carried echoes of their past trials, and many souls were still wrestling with their storms. Emma spotted her first person, a woman sitting alone on a bench, staring blankly at the ground. "Should I?" she asked, glancing back at Thomas, uncertainty creeping in. "Go to her," Thomas urged, heart racing. "You have the light." With a deep breath, Emma approached the woman, her heart bursting with compassion. As she sat beside her, Thomas could barely make out the words. Slowly, he leaned in closer, straining to catch the dialogue that unfolded. "Sometimes it just helps to talk," Emma said softly. He could see her warmth, her sincerity, it shimmered in the air. The woman's head turned slightly, meeting Emma's gaze, and it was as if a crack began to form in the walls built by despair. Back with the others, Thomas felt a shift within him, the sacred realization that every act of kindness was a step toward healing. All around him, each member of the community was meeting their fears head-on, reaching out for hearts in need. Time stretched, and soon the sun dipped lower in the sky, its rays casting golden silhouettes against the village. As evening approached, they began to gather back, eyes alight with stories of connection and unspoken gratitude. "We did it," Mary said, a tremor of awe in her voice. "We really did it." But a subtle hush washed over them, and Thomas looked around, noticing a shift in the air. In this moment of collective joy, the familiar shadow of doubt crept in. "We should keep going," he confessed, the fire in his chest flickering momentarily. "But what if we can't do enough?" Emma placed her hand on his shoulder, a tender comfort. "We may not be able to do everything, but even small acts can lead to big changes. Remember the stranger's words. We are never alone in this." He nodded, knowing she was right. They had embarked on a journey birthed from love and courage. Yet, deep down, a flicker of worry remained. Just as they had begun this mission, what else would be required of them? How vast was this mission of hope that now sprawled before them? The answers pulsed just out of reach, shrouded in the mystery of the next steps. As they walked home, the cool night air wrapped around them. With each step, the presence of that greater calling beckoned them forward. Was this truly just the beginning of a grand transformation? What challenges lay ahead, waiting to elevate their spirits even higher? The moon hung high, casting a silvery glow over the village as Thomas and Emma walked side by side, a comforting silence enveloping them. The day's encounters echoed in their hearts, lighting up memories of conversations filled with hope and healing. While the world around them settled into stillness, a stirring energy lingered in the air, vibrant and insistent. "What do you think will happen next?" Emma questioned, her voice barely more than a whisper. Thomas paused, looking up at the stars that dotted the night sky, like promises waiting to be fulfilled. "I think we're being led to something greater. I just can't shake the feeling that this is only the beginning." They moved onward, feeling the pulse of excitement tangled with uncertainty. Thomas couldn't help but wonder about the people they'd touched and the seeds of hope they had sown. Yet deeper questions lingered, pulling at the corners of his mind. Was the hope they offered truly enough? As he wrestled with these thoughts, he suddenly felt a gentle tug at his spirit, a reminder that their mission was larger than themselves. As they approached the town center again, they heard voices familiar, warm, resounding with enthusiasm. It was Mary, rallying more villagers for thought and prayer. The little gathering felt like a spark, igniting a small fire with each new member that arrived. "Look, they've come back," Mary exclaimed, her eyes glistening. "Everyone has stories to share. Come, listen to the light they found today." Thomas and Emma joined the circle, and as they settled in, the sense of community bloomed vibrantly around them. One by one, stories emerged from the villagers. Old Mr. Jenkins shared how a simple smile from a child lifted his spirit that morning. Lucy, the baker, recounted how she had lent a loaf of bread to a neighbor, who burst into tears, grateful for even that small kindness in a moment of need. Each tale was a thread weaving them together, illustrating the impact of small gestures amplified by love. The atmosphere hummed with a palpable excitement, and yet amidst the joy, Thomas felt a shadow persist. A subtle tension simmered, as if all were waiting for something profound to break through. "Thomas," Mary called, noticing his stillness. "What's on your heart?" He searched for words, the tension inside him bubbling to the surface. "I just wonder, is this all there is? What if we can't fulfill what we're meant to do? What if there is more to our mission than just today?" The crowd grew silent, the weight of his question lingering heavily in the air. Then Emma, her voice steady and warm, took a step forward. "Faith is about the journey, not just the destination. Remember, even clouds gather before rain. We may not see the full picture yet, but we are connected to something bigger than ourselves." Her words resonated like a divine echo. They offered peace even as they sparked curiosity. Thomas caught the glimmer in her eyes, and for a moment, the unknown felt less daunting, more inviting. Perhaps their mission was still unfolding, a mysterious tapestry revealing itself stitch by stitch. As the conversation picked up again, Thomas felt an undeniable urging in his spirit. Darkness, while sometimes overwhelming, could also produce the brightest light. With newfound resolve, he looked around at his friends, who were alive with anticipation, and declared, "We are called to something magnificent, and we must face whatever comes next with courage." Just then, a gentle breeze stirred the leaves above them, as if nature itself responded to their words, validating their call to action. But just as the warmth of hope began to settle in, the air thickened with uncertainty. Why had they gathered this night? What came after this joyful reunion? There had to be a reason for their meeting under the stars. As the villagers began to murmur amongst themselves, a sudden illumination glimmered in the distance, a wave of light rippling across their faces. What could it mean? Was it a sign? The questions hung in the air, tantalizingly unanswered, drawing them forward. A majestic glow enveloped the village, emanating from the ancient oak tree at the center of the town square. Its branches twisted and swayed, adorned with glistening leaves that seemed to shimmer with every whisper of wind. Thomas felt an undeniable pull toward the tree, a sacred beacon calling them forth. As the villagers moved closer, anticipation surged in the cool night air. Thomas could feel Emma's warmth beside him, the sparks of excitement igniting their hearts. "What do you think it is?" She asked, wide-eyed and breathless. I don't know, but it feels important, Thomas replied, his voice steadying amidst the excitement. They gathered in a wide circle around the tree, eyes drawn to the radiance that pulsed with a rhythmic beat as if the very earth thrummed with a sacred heartbeat. What is your heart's desire? Came a voice, gentle yet commanding, washing over them like a soft tide. It echoed from the luminous glow, wrapping around the crowd like a cloak of warmth. The villagers paused, questions sliding to the back of their minds as an overwhelming sense of reverence filled the space. Thomas felt the ground beneath him shift, the world narrowing to an intimate moment between the divine and each seeking heart. We want to answer the call. Mary finally spoke, her spirit aflame with fresh conviction. We want to be light for others. But how? Her question hung in the air, waiting for the universe to unveil its wisdom. The light flickered, and, as if in response, the leaves above began to sway more vigorously, cascading down glimmering petals like confetti in a holy celebration. The air thickened with anticipation, spiraling hope and unity among them. Hold fast to your faith. The voice returned, enveloping them in a divine embrace. You are the vessels of grace. You are the hands and feet that will guide the lost. Your community is a tapestry woven from struggles and triumphs. You will shine even brighter when linked together. Even in wonder, doubt trickled back into Thomas's heart. What if they weren't capable of becoming the light others needed? But the warmth of Emma's hand squeezed his, urging him to listen, urging him to receive, inviting him to trust the unfolding. Each time you act with love, you nurture the light within. The voice continued, serene yet powerful. Every conversation, every moment shared nourishes hope and creates ripples. Never underestimate the impact of a single act. You will inspire many. Then we will strive harder to shine. Thomas proclaimed, his voice carrying strength now, emboldened by the words spoken. The conviction that pulsed through him was infectious. Encouragement blossomed in the hearts of all present. Mary added, we will work together to share stories, to lift each other up, holding hands through the trials ahead. Her passion lit a fire that spread through the group like wildfire, igniting each heart with a fervent resolve. Suddenly, the voice spoke again as the glow intensified. Tomorrow, the winds of challenge will blow stronger still. But stand united, and you will overcome. Faith will light your way. An eruption of applause followed, cheers rising into the night air, each shout reverberating with newfound determination. As the echoes of their joyous unity swirled around them, Thomas felt the walls of doubt crumble further, replaced instead by an unquenchable light. Then, with a final radiant pulse, the light began to fade. Step forward with love. Your mission is just beginning. Continue to gather, pray, and believe. The world awaits your light. As the glow dissipated, a warm wave washed over each villager, enveloping them in peace. The whispers of a night returned, harmonizing with the stirring of hearts, now bursting with possibility. Thomas glanced around at the faces before him, once clouded with uncertainty, now shining with the fervor of divine purpose. We may have uncertainties, but together we will prevail. He called out once more, and the crowd erupted into cheers that echoed across the village. With arms linked, they walked back through the village, each step ringing with hope, each soul fueled by the collective strength forged from stories shared. The dawning day brought with it a promise that transcended the trials they faced. In the face of coming storms, they had forged a community of light, willing to step boldly into the fray, trusting that their love would carry them through. Every heart now held certainty. Every spirit burned with the flame of belief. And so they journeyed forth undaunted, united, destined to shine, sculpting a vision of hope strong enough to cast away shadows. This, they knew, was only the beginning. Where darkness once lingered, light would now flourish. And brothers and sisters, so it must be with us, too. Step into your purpose. Spread that light, share your stories, and embrace the challenges because miracles await those who have faith now. Before you leave this sacred space, it's a pivotal moment. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that are coming your way. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and ensure more souls find this divine message. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about this ending. Your words matter, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope. True servants of God understand how vital it is to support the channel through these actions.